There's a timer there. Did you guys know, anybody know what the #1 use of Siri for the Apple company is? #1 use that people use it for. This is egg timer. This is a kitchen timer. So, you know, I think that's a learned lesson there, is that we can have like 100 people working on a project for 5 years and come out with something amazing and, you know, AI influenced and talk about the future, but actually we need to make sure that it is usable and that it is feasible, right? And so when we talk about being the vertiport partner of choice, I do it as a Skyports employee, a proud Skyports employee, and head of our operations here in Korea. But I do it also with modesty, because I want you to know that I'm not going to stand up here at every single talk and talk about how we're the greatest. What I want to get across to you is that we are a front runner in the industry, and the reason why I decided to sign an MOU with the G3AM last year is because we want to be a part of the conversation. We want to help, and you know, we believe in and plan on being a part of this market and this conversation and sharing our learnings. And so I'm going to share a little bit with you today, and I'm going to ask that, you know, those of you in the industry, I'm getting to know quite a few faces. I'm wearing my close-up glasses, so I can't see all the faces right now. But I am getting to know you guys. You're becoming friends. So, you know, if there are slides that you've seen before, there are people I think that don't know about our company. I will talk about it just briefly and then move to maybe some slides that you haven't seen yet. And hopefully that's helpful for you. So thank you to G3AM for the invitation. And it's an honor to be back again. You know, why we do this, as populations are growing, they're becoming more urban. And there needs to be different solutions to address those needs. And so, you know, we feel that we've proven ourselves as the vertiport partner of choice. And how we've done that is through a core Skyports value. And that is talk less, do more. So action over talk. Now, we design, we build, we learn, and we do it again. We do this pragmatically and educatedly in a safe environment, but we do it. That's the main thing. We do it. We build sites where they're needed in high demand locations with good feasibility that make up a larger network. And we do it all. So there's only one relationship across all ground infrastructure needs. Thank you. So I'll just talk about the 3 main verticals as to why our company. You know, we work with aircraft operators, asset owners, and local stakeholders to establish a transportation network optimized for efficiency and convenience. Our approach considers the needs of the customer and the community, enabling us to identify the best vertiport sites. Now, when we move to planning and design, we use our airport planning, airspace, regulatory, and operations expertise to design and build vertiports which capture industry best practices and aircraft performance requirements. We work with authorities and communities, and we obtain necessary permits and permissions before deploying each vertiport. we are an end-to-end vertiport solutions developer and operator. We work with market-leading partners and operators to deliver and operate an efficient and safe AAM infrastructure network. And what sets us apart is really a bespoke technology for efficient operations. Our technology is tailored for vertiport and heliport use cases. So we as a company work across three main verticals. One is heliport operation. We operate the South London heliport, and we also look to be involved in more heliports. We look at current helicopter and heliport infrastructure and how we can upgrade that to be usable in an eVTOL environment or used as a vertiport. We have identity management, passenger access control, a slot booking system, RMSS, and enabling safe operations through our test bed. It's pretty complex. That's what this slide says. There are a lot of different moving parts. But we solve all the infrastructure challenges under one roof. Here's a look at SLH. It's one of the two helicopter service areas in London. It's very close to Canary Wharf and to the financial district. We operate in around 12 or 13 markets globally. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that, the market itself. The opportunity for infrastructure is high, but, a good chunk of that has been going into the aircraft themselves. We anticipate that by 2025, the global market for sustainable mobility is going to be about $1.5 trillion US. And to date, urban air mobility has had about $9 billion of investment, but that has been almost solely focused on the technology for the aircraft. As they get closer to certification, the time is now to invest in the ground infrastructure that's going to make this industry grow. So the gap is closing, and Skyports, since our founding, has raised funding rounds every 2 years to grow the business. Now, the most recent investment has been from Group ACS, and this makes us the largest urban air mobility infrastructure and logistics service globally. That capital then allows us to deploy vertiports around the world, including with you here in Korea, doing different types of studies, putting land options down to be able to develop land here as well, and so deploying AAM as quickly as we possibly can. So how do we do that? Through public-private partnerships, I'd like to share with you all here today an example that we feel works best to reach AAM development or deployment. And as you can see here, we've formed a three-way partnership. So there's a win-win for everyone. The RTA gives to Skyports licensing and land to build infrastructure. They gave us also the exclusive right to operate on that land for a number of years. They did the same thing for Joby as a partner. The win-win between Joby and Skyports is that Joby provides us landing fees and we provide them a place to land and take off from. We also take care of their customers. That's the easy way to talk about the commercial structure. It's a sustainable commercial model, and we use it to launch and mature air taxi operations in Dubai and also recently we have talked about in the media signing further agreements in Abu Dhabi, in the other Emirates as well. Now, it took about 2 years to set the foundations for the successful execution of the Dubai project. It's across 3 pillars, really. It's commercials, network planning, and regulations. We talked about the commercial agreements, so let's look at the network planning. DXB is the Dubai International Airport. Then we have PMJ, which is Palm Jumeirah. That's the first actual point-to-point that's going to happen in Dubai. Then there's downtown, and there's Dubai Marina. These are creating massive challenges for us because we think about, okay, where do you land at the Dubai Marina? Does anybody know what the Dubai Marina looks like? It's really, really tall buildings, a lot of them, right? So you're going to have wind rushing through those buildings. You're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with just the fact that, you know, how do you approach? This is similar with downtown as well. And so these are areas that we are looking into currently. And this is what the network development is looking like. For site selection, we looked at over 50 sites. And, you know, we have a number of acceptance criteria that we put through our model to be able to decide whether or not a vertiport should or should not be built in a certain location. We did run these through that model. The sites selected were 4 and for the first phase and 10 for the second phase. You can see in this this slide, it's really just to show you what we think about, what is typical and atypical when we're looking at how we are going to approach and whether or not we should in fact, build a vertiport in this location. This thing's not going to move, I don't think, but it's basically supposed to show you that from Dubai International to Dubai Marina, it is, Dubai Palm Jumeirah, it is typically 45 minutes to an hour. But we can get there. Joby can carry its passengers there in 6 to 10 minutes, depending on the weather. So you're talking about being able to get there and back really, really quickly. The project like this, including projects in Korea as well, are going to need you know, sponsorship at the highest levels to put a deal like this together, all working towards the same goal. We have 2 definitive agreements. These are the first ever commercial agreements in the world. So one with Joby, with the RTA, and we have an operating agreement with the RTA as well. It's 25 years with the option for 5 more years after that. We've done this by putting together 2 committees to support this project. So, you know, you've got your aerial, taxi, aviation committee, and then you've got your public services committee. Joby and Skyports sit on both. And these basically inform the GCAA as to what licensing will look like, what is necessary, and then also we get together and we discuss things like, okay, what if there's a fire? This is an electric aircraft, it's going to burn for a long, long time. How do we put it out? How do we make sure that people are safe? These are the conversations that we're able to have as a result of these committees. And I see something similar happening in Korea as well with not only the KUAMGC, I would like to see more sharing. Thank you so much for Korean Air to share the learnings from that. That was fantastic. I was so happy to see that. We have to share with each other to be able to make this a reality. Commercially, you know, the government supports industry partnerships. So the RTA sits at the top, and then this is an opportunity to be able to look at on the air taxi aviation committee side. There's a bunch of different relationships that you can create from that. On the public side, there's a bunch of different relationships, and then to look at what the non-aeronautical revenue is going to look like as well. It's basically regulated completely by the RTA, which is fantastic for us as a first model. The regulatory framework, there's a vertiport operations, and then there's the operations themselves. And so these are the two documents that we have that we are building our vertiports against. And again, this is part of the work that we've done with the GCAA to be able to put those regulations in place. When we look at when this is going to happen, this is a question a lot of people have. We are in the final stages of detailed design. However, it's very, very difficult to get through detailed design. When you move something in a building that's never been built before, even 10 centimeters, you've got to shift everything in the entire building. So it's extremely challenging. And we're looking at regulatory approvals, permitting. We're looking at vertiport construction to be finished by late 2025. We're looking to be flying by early 2026. We don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, so we are being very conservative when we say early 2026. It could be earlier than that. Dubai will be the template for the rest of the world, but I think also some of the other projects that we have will also be. This is part of the Future Flight Challenge, and we're working with Vertical Aerospace in Bicester to be able to put together something similar to what we have in Cergy-Pontoise, which is a test facility. And we've learned so much from that test facility. As you saw from the Korean Air presentation, there's so much that you can learn just by actually doing it, which I talked about earlier. It reminds me of our remote operations center for our uncrewed aircraft and drone operations around the world. That's exactly what we do on a daily basis. And Skyports learns so much from that side of our business as well. Korea is well positioned to be a leader also in launching AAM. There's a number of different reasons why. There's strong governmental a push to be able to make this happen. And also there's deep involvement with a lot of different industry players. And we have, of course, the ConOps that have come out is a real good gauge to be able to see and tell that there are use cases and that people are really thinking about this deeply. And we, with that, I'm a little over time. I will leave you with that. Thank you again so much to G3AM and to Korea for hosting us continuously. And please continue to come and listen to me speak as I continue to talk about how we are building up these operations in Dubai and around the world. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. So thank you very much.